Good morning, virtual villagers. I'm Kate from What Kate Made, and welcome to my session this morning. Now, I just need to explain something slightly. In the description, it says DIY pencil case by Upcycling junk mail. It's not actually a pencil case, it's a stationery folder, but it is junk mail. Now, in true fashion, of course, when I decide to do some upcycling of junk mail, I can't find any junk mail. I've had very little, so all I've managed to gather is a couple of window envelopes. But I'm going to explain how you would use various elements of your junk mail. We don't get a lot of junk mail anymore. It's mostly junk spam. It's junk email now, isn't it? But things like I was going to show you the window envelopes. This is actually a new window envelope because I only had one window envelope come in the last week. But one of the things I wanted to show you is quite often now when they come, they're printed all over with, I'm going to stop leaning on the table because it's making the tripod swivel about. They're quite often printed all over with logos and things. But what we're really interested when we're upcycling is the window. Now, window envelopes, as I understand, can't be recycled because of this plastic bit in them. However, you can upcycle them. So this makes a great thing if you want to, if you're doing journaling or making a scrapbook and you want to use a little window to put things behind it that you can take out and put in again. These are ideal. And I'm going to do that in one of the pages of the stationery pouch I'm making. The other thing they're very useful for is because of security, they're patterned on the inside. This one happens to be blue and white, but they come in different patterns. That's a sort of geometric design. They're very useful if you want. There's a technique called tea bag folding, which makes you think of tea bags as in what you put in your teapot, but it's actually what tea used to come in, paper bags printed with a design, and you fold them into various different shapes. This is ideal for it. From bigger envelopes, obviously this is quite a small one, but because I've used up my solitary window envelope in my example, I'm gonna have to use a new one. But still, it's not getting this bit into landfill. So what I'm going to make today, this is the one I made earlier. You see, it's made up of envelopes. I've used a lot of old envelopes. If the ideal ones, if you get a birthday card or something, maybe the one that hasn't been posted and where it isn't fully sealed down, if you can carefully open it up, you can reuse it. Any writing on the front you cover anyway. We're covering the envelopes in various different pieces of scrapbook paper. Other elements of junk mail as well can be used. You can use your nice pattern papers from inside your window envelopes. I've used scraps and bits of scrapbook fabrics that I had left over. So if I'm cutting out a piece for framing matting a photograph, for instance, the bits that are left I keep to one side and I use them up in like little scrappy journals like this. So there's loads of ways you can do these, but I've used, with this one particularly, envelopes because it is a stationery pouch. Now, one thing I have bought, I'll show you if I can get close. This is ingenious. I'll take it off and show you. This is what's holding it closed. This is like a giant paper clip, but it's got that loop on it. That is for your pen. So you can fasten your pen to a notebook. I got a pack of these and absolutely, I'm a bit of a thing with stationery. I love notebooks and journals and nice pens. So I've got a pack of these and it's great. Every journal and notebook I've got has now got a pen attached to it. So we've taken that off and this is the front of our little stationery pouch. Now each of these flaps is an envelope. And what I've done with them is decorated the front and decorated the inside, but left the flap open. So if I can, the flap is here. This one is particularly difficult, but behind that piece of purple card, there's a little space that you can put anything in really that you want to store. That one is a little bit different because that is smaller. So that is what I think they call them, like pocket money envelope, something like that. Now the next one, this is a purple sort of almost shimmery. Sorry, the light's not very good in here. This envelope was a birthday card envelope. So that is the front of the envelope, which I've decorated with scraps of paper. But as you open it up, you can see the flap of the envelope is used to stick it together, but that's the rest of the envelope there. So it's got a little pocket now that you can put things in. So you can store things like stamps and labels and all sorts of things. And each one unfolds that way. So this is another, let me get it into view. This is another of those shiny envelopes. This one, I've put a little pocket on. I don't know whether you can see that. It's difficult showing you and holding it upright. I've just tucked a little label into it, but you can see that bit is a little pocket on the front. So they open up that way. Now each of the envelopes has been stiffened with a piece of card inside it. This white one I decided didn't work. I wouldn't use a white one again unless it was really good quality, because it looks a little strange. The card that I've put in, I don't know whether you can see that, I've cut it with a scalloped edge, so that we can, just to be a bit more decorative. Somebody's trying to call me. That's the difficulty of using your phone. This one again, it's been decorated with some scraps of material, and again it's got the pocket on the back. Now this is the base, and there is my window envelope. I don't know whether you can see it catching the light. I've surrounded it with washi tape. Just put a little stamp on there because I think this is ideal for stamps, because it's clear. You can see what stamps you've got just by looking at it. Although stamps tend to come in books now. It's not the old-fashioned way. But the whole thing just folds back up. Which way around was it? That one. And then that's our final one. And then our clip with our pen fastens it together. And your pen goes in there. I'll just do that. I need to put a bit of pressure on that. And the back, I've decorated the back as well, because the back has all the envelope flaps on it. So you need to cover that as well. So that's always the last thing you do, the back. Now, I've done some envelopes already, but I've got a few to show you, different techniques of how to put them together. So I'm going to turn the camera down. I'm going to get you live first, if I can. Right, got you live. Okay, so say hello if you're out there. Give us a wave. Tell me what the weather's doing. Whatever you like, ask me questions as we go along. If anything's not clear or you can't see what I'm doing, that's a good thing to say. Right, so let me position the camera so that you can see what I can see. I've got a new tripod, so this might be a bit delicate. Bear with me. This should give you a better view, this new tripod. So I'm trying to see what you can see. You can see my hands, I think, so that's okay. What I've got here is a lot of the elements I've already prepared because it takes quite a bit of time. So I'm going to show you 3 different envelopes. I'm just hoping that the delay in the feed catches up and you can see what I'm doing. So what I've got here is a green envelope like the ones that we saw earlier, and it's shiny. It's got a nice pearly finish. I've got this is the card that's going to go inside it. So I cut a piece of card to the same size as the envelope, then I put a scalloped edge on it. Now I'm going to show you my paper cutter. This is my paper cutter. It has blades that you can change. At the moment I've got the scallop edge in it, but it has these little blades. So that's the straight one. So that's the one that's normally in it. Where's the others? I don't think I've got them here. I think I've put them away, but there's various different edges, but the ones I'm using today have been the straight one and the scallop one. I have done all my cutting beforehand. So the first thing you do when you're creating this envelope is put the card inside it. I haven't talked about equipment, but what I'm using today is mostly glue stick. The reason being that we don't need, they'll dry, and we're not once they're in, that's it. It's not like we have to move everything around, so we don't need instant sticking is what I'm trying to say in my clumsy way. So that is the card to go inside. I'm going to mat up this piece with the stamps on, which I thought was quite nice for the other side of the card. But I'm also going to use this because when I cut these were 6x6 sheets, and when I cut bits out, there was other bits left, and I thought there's no point wasting them. So I thought that would make a nice complement. I'm going to stick that just there. It's slightly smaller than my card. That doesn't matter because that's going to be inside the envelope. Now, glue, I said I'm using glue stick. I'm just going to move that to one side because I don't want to get glue on my cutting mat. So I'll wind up some of my glue, and I'm just going to put glue as close to the edges as I can. It does make the paper slightly damp, but that's fine. And then I'm going to stick that a few millimeters away from the edge. Let me move that in a bit closer, so you can see it's got this nice decorative. And nearly all of the papers I've chosen have got a sort of postal theme, which I thought was quite appropriate. So then we want to insert that into our envelope. We'll just double check that it fits. If it doesn't, I may have to trim off a little bit. I think I'm going to have to trim off a little bit. So I'll just trim it with the scissors. I'll trim it to the edge of that paper. That should be enough. If not, I can always cut a little bit more off. I'm going to use the scissors because only a little bit of it's actually going to show. So there we go, that's better. Make sure that slips in and doesn't catch my paper. So once that's in, when we cut this, we do need to make sure that our paper envelope will still fold over. That probably is going to need a little bit trimming off the bottom. It's a case of stuff you can see really, if it fits. No. So that's better altogether. So that now fits in, and this is the flat bit is going to be stuck to the back of our. That's going in properly. There we go. To the back of our backing board. This is the bit that when you open it, so this side's going to be decorated. That's the open side. This is where you're going to pop stuff. It's just to give you a nice decorative feel to that. So what I'm going to do is take that back out. I'm just going to glue this very edge, just so it doesn't fall in and out when you pull things out of your envelope. If you glue the whole thing, it makes it very difficult to get it back in. This is why I always have a practice, because it makes it easier. So we want to just position that so that the envelope still flaps shut, and then slightly about a millimeter further down, press that edge, and that's that bit done. So that's inside done. So on the outside, I've got this nice piece of sort of, it's like a postcard with old-fashioned stamps and script on it. I've cut it with my scalloped edged cutting tool because it gives it the appearance of a stamp, which is what I wanted. Now this is just the piece of card that was left over. So what I'm going to do is mat this. Now matting is a technique of layering up so that you get a nice frame around your piece of work. And what I'm going to do is glue that on there, so I just can see the edge of that sort of brown shiny card. And so I'm going to glue the back of my first layer, my top layer, position that so that you can see the scalloped edge, and then secure it in place. Now I'm just going to cut with my scissors, because I'm going to cut so that it's just above the points, you see, of the scalloping. Oops. I could have done this with the edge cutter, but I do find that I do a lot of this by eye. I'm not always accurate, don't get me wrong, but I just find it doing it by eye. See, that isn't square, but I am not going to worry about it. Cutting mat is excellent. I'm going to use the cutting mat later. I cut most of these out with the cutting mat because you can line it up. Can you see that the cutting mat has a right angle, and you can line up the edges of your paper so that you've got that kind of, I don't know which way up to put that way, I think. And then I'm going to line this up so that I've got a nice even border around, and then stick it down, and that is a page done. Might just need a little bit more glue under the edges there if you find it's not sticking down properly. There we go. They will dry quite quickly, but the advantage also of the glue is that you can move things around. A little bit more there, I think. They don't stick instantly like a double-sided tape would. On the other one, I use double-sided tape to stick the lace and the ribbon down, just because it won't stick to glue. So that's one page complete. I'll pop that with my other complete pages. Now this next one is using the window envelope. This envelope is part of a stationery set. It's very pretty. It's plain on one side. It's got this lovely seal on the back. Unfortunately, when we stick this together, that's going to be hidden. So what I did was I cut the flap off another one. So this is my card for the inside of this envelope. It's just plain green. I'm not going to put anything else on it. I am going to put something else on it, actually. I'm going to put the flap. That's what I decided to do. So I'm just going to glue that, and then I'm going to stick the flap on. So that is going to be inside my envelope. This bit of the flap is going to be stuck to the back, so we won't see that. So I'm also just going to quickly put a bit of glue on that side to hold it in. And then, as before, I'm going to slip that in there. Now this is handy. You know, you sometimes get embossed like pieces on the back envelope flaps. This is a good idea for that. Now, again, my card is slightly big because I draw around the envelope to get the card size right. Actually, I'm going to use the cutting mat. I'm going to show you how to use the cutting mat. So what I want is to just cut a fraction off that. So I'm going to line it up with the lines on my cutting mat, and then I'm going to use the scalpel, this Aerocraft knife, and I'm going to just cut 1/4 of an inch off. So that's the 1/4 inch mark at that side, and that's the 1/4 inch mark at that side, and then you just draw your knife up against your, this is a metal ruler, so it's ideal for this. So that's cut a little bit off that. So I'm going to pop that back in. That's what's going to stiffen my page. So you can see I've got that nice line. My flap goes over. It's important the flap goes over so you can turn the pages. Right, just have a quick look at who's watching. Hi, Anne. Anne watches quite a lot. She says it's sunny in Staffordshire. That's nice. So the front of this envelope, I'm just going to cover with this. I don't think it needs any other embellishment because it's just perfect. Its backing colour is very similar. It's got that lovely nostalgic feel we want. But I might edge it with a little bit of washi tape. We'll see when we put it on. So once again, I'm going to glue all over. Spread some more glue out. Probably a good idea to pick up any trimmings as you go, otherwise it's going to stick to your glue like that nearly did. I'll just get rid of these little bits into the bin. Even these little bits are too small for even me to recycle. Then I'm going to place the paper carefully. Now, I'm just going to see what this is like. That is, I think, is a bit modern. This one, however, is quite nostalgic with the gold on it. So what I'm going to do is, where's the end? You notice I'm not using very much double-sided tape today because I always make a mull of it. Now we said, didn't we, that I was going to use the envelope, the window envelope on this, which I am going to do. I'm going to cut the window bit out of this envelope, and I'm going to cut it so that there's an even frame all the way around it. Again, you could do this on your cutting mat or use your paper cutter if you've got one. So I'm not going to use that bit. I'm just going to use the window bit. I'm going to keep that bit though, because I can use that for I can use it. Use the paper. So there you can see that our window envelope fits perfectly. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the washi tape to secure it. Now this washi tape is wider than the edge, but it's not peeling off properly. Let me just see if I can. Washi tape is widely available in a massive amount of designs. It's beautiful. It's quite easy to use because it's slightly positionable as well. So this piece at the top, I'm going to place it so that it leaves the window but covers the white paper, but also goes, and it is slightly translucent as well, so it's nice. I'm just going to use my craft knife to cut that bit, peel that bit off, so I get a nice clean edge. I've done that on the wrong bit, haven't I? Yes, that was cleverly done. It needs to be at the bottom, it needs to be open at the top. So as you can see, washi tape is repositionable to a certain extent. So I'm going to cut that. That provides the bottom. I am going to use this narrower one to just cover the edges because I don't want no, I'm not. See, this is what I mean. Designs change as you go. Now that top bit I want to leave open, so I'm going to position this on the edge but going over the window. We can still see through the window, but I need that top to remain open because that's my where I'm going to put things in. Cut that. And then this is going to go around and onto the other side. So that's why I'm cutting it. I'm putting it over. You will find your own way as you're going along. This washi tape I'm now discovering is showing through a little bit, so maybe a darker colour would have been better, but I still like it. Okay, so now we're going to fold those over. Now this bit will be hidden, but that bit you'll see. So what we've got now is our little pocket to put stamps or whatever in, and our nice washi tape. So that's our second envelope done. And what else? Right, the last one is a little one. So this is the one that's on the front of here, and I'm going to put it on the front of the one I'm making as well. Now it's what I call a dinner money envelope. It's got that on it. I'm going to cover the front, obviously, to cover the writing with this script paper, and I'm going to use a frame. I have used frames on other ones that I've made, but I haven't shown you how to use a frame yet. So the frame is just a piece of card cut with a nice front on it, a die cut piece. I'm going to frame this little piece of blue paper with a butterfly on it, like a stamp. Again, it's a stamp image. That was what I was going to use and change my mind. But the back of this I'm going to leave because it's plain and it's brown paper, so it fits with our kind of rustic look. So just simply, this again is our layer that's going to cover the whole of the front of the envelope. I'm making extra sure I put more on the corners. So that's the front of our envelope, and I'm going to stick that. Now this is the only one I'm not putting a piece of card in, because of the flap of the envelope is quite small. A piece of card would make it a little bit difficult to get things in. If you feel that may be too small, you could gently lengthen it by just scoring there. You want to be careful you're not going through all the layers, because this is quite thin paper. I'm just doing it freehand. I'm just making the V shape bigger. So now I've got, remember that's going to be underneath your backing. So now you've got room to get things in. So that's our front piece. Fold that over so you can see that. Now, when you're layering up the frame and it's a bit underneath, it's whatever picture's going in it, put your glue around your frame. How are we doing for time? Okay, and then position your frame over your design so that it's where you want it to be, like that. And then we're going to re-glue and place that in the center of our scripted paper. You could do this with three-dimensional foam pads as well, if you wanted a slightly raised appearance. Actually, it's going to be that way. But you've got to be aware everything's adding to the thickness of your pouch, so you want it to be able to fold over and over. So that's all our little envelopes made, and now we're going to just look at the back piece. So the tallest of your envelopes, which is this one for me, your backboard needs to be the height of your tallest of your envelopes, which it is. Now this bit is going to be where now this is just cut from Amazon packaging. I know you can get other sorts of packaging, but that sort of cardboard envelope things come in. The other side had the address label on it, so this is where all my envelopes are going to go, my envelope sleeves, and then I'm going to cover them with the green card, and I'm going to make some sort of design out of these with the butterflies and the hydrangeas. The other side is what's going to be facing inwards, and I did this earlier. I chose a piece of this. This is lovely. It's got stamps on it. It's got more butterflies. It's got a bit of greenery. So that's just a printed scrapbook paper, and I've edged it again with some more of the sort of Chinesey effect washi tape in a dark green. So the reason I did it with the washi tape was that I miscut, and it was slightly, I could see the brown, so I thought, no, cover it in washi tape. So that's the inside of the whole thing, and this is the back where the envelope flaps are going to stick. So that's the last thing we do, is cover that, and I'm going to cover it with as I said, with this pale green, and I'm going to make another pocket. I'm just going to set that to one side for now while we assemble the whole thing. So remembering that this is our inside, and we're going to decide how we want our envelopes to be layered. I think that one, the tallest one, should go inside, so it opens up that way. When it's stuck down, it'll open up that way. You can use this. One thing we could do, if I'd thought of it beforehand, is divide this into two pockets, and I could have done that by putting a bit of double-sided tape on there. However, I'm not going to. Sometimes you might need larger. This is at the point where you suddenly realise you've probably done some of these the wrong way. So our smaller envelopes next, and I'm going to layer them so that they're not all one on top of the other. have done them slightly odd. That one, because that's not got a top to it. I'm going to put that one in next. So what you're doing is you're sticking the flap so that it works over. So you want it to work over. You need to be quite careful about your placement. Then I want one on this side, so that one has not got any direction to it really, so that can go there. So again, we're just tucking the envelope flap underneath. I think I'll put that to the top like that. Going to take that top. It is a case of really just getting the best. I'm going to take that one out and leave. That's going to be my top one. So I'm going to put that there, and then this one with, and then I'm going to put the one with the stamp window that we made out of the window envelope up there. We're trying to cover what we've got underneath, so almost like we're revealing secrets as we go. So this one, I think I'm going to make this long envelope my top layer. So this little pouch envelope that we made, that can go at the bottom here. Once I've got the placement that I like, I can then go back and stick them all down, and that one goes under there like that. So that is, maybe that one should go on the top. Yes, I like that. I'm going to put that there. So this is essentially going to be our fastening one. Right, I'm pleased with that arrangement. So now I'm going to one by one take everything off to the side that it's going to be, and then I'm going to stick it all down. So we're starting with this green one. Back to my glue stick. Can everybody see what I'm doing? I hope so. We're doing quite well for time. I hope nobody's disappointed that I'm not making a pencil case. So I've glued that, and I decided I was having that one at the top. So what I'm going to do is make sure it will still close, and then firmly press it down. So on the back, you can see I've got that envelope flap there now. So what was next? This one with the nice daisies on it and the little butterfly. I wouldn't recommend just using the glue on the envelope for this sticking, because I don't think it's quite strong enough. So I want that one to be on my bottom edge, and again I'm going to close it, fold it closed, so that I know it will open and close easily. And the next one was this one with the window envelope on it that we're going to use for our stamps, and that one's going at the top. So again, I'm going to line it up, fold it over, and then stick the flap down. And then our tall one is going at the other side. The reason I wouldn't recommend using the glue on the envelopes is quite often they've it's kind of not perished, but you know, lost its stickability. So that one will sit neatly over there, and I'll just rub that down. I'm going to cover this back, so all of these envelopes will be stuck firmly. Now this one is going to go, I think I'll put it right in the middle there. This one is always going to be a little bit less robust, purely because it's a flimsier envelope. Now, what I might be tempted to do with this one, I think, is put a string around it to tie. And I've got some jute twine, which I didn't think I was going to use, but I am now. And I'm going to put this on before I stick the back on, because then, so this is what I've got, jute twine. I'm going to cut a good generous amount off. So what my idea being that will go under, and then you will tie it. Because we want to tie it over that. I'm going to tie it in a little bow. If I can. Like that. And then we'll trim these long ends. Maybe turn it that way. So that's just going to hold everything closed. Our pen, where's it gone? Pen holder thing, nice little heart-shaped thing. That can go here. And the pen that I got for it, which I've now lost. Never mind, I'll put pencil in it because pencils are quite rusty. So that's all the front facing things done. Now we just need to cover up all this at the back, and I do want to cover my string so that it holds it on. So what I did was I cut a piece of card. Again, it's quite a nice pale sagey green. It's going to just fit over the back there. So I'm going to glue that. Plenty of glue. I shouldn't be doing this on my cutting mat because, as I say, I'll get glue on the cutting mat. Hey ho. So all the way to the edges, and then I'm just need more glue. Just a quick squiggle down the middle. So back to the back and cover that, the string and everything. As I say, it will slide slightly, so you can. We've got a little bit of a mark when the string's gone through, but that can't be helped. Okay. Now we have got edges showing. You could decorate that with washi tape so you can't quite see those edges. I'm not going to at the moment because I want to show you how to create this little pocket at the back. Now I kept the various pieces because I wasn't sure how I was going to do this. But I think what I'm going to do is put that on as the pocket and then stick that to it as the embellishment. I think actually it might just be easier to just create the pocket like that. I think that's what I'll do. I'll cut it about there, about halfway up, which is, where's my measure? 5 inches. So what I'm going to do is place my, that way, because that's the bottom, and then make sure it lines up with the lines. Get my ruler at the 5-inch mark and brace it firmly, and actually that's not quite. Take a cut right across, just double check it's straight there. Let's move now. Okay. So that is my pocket. Now, rather than use the glue, I'm going to use some double-sided tape. You know me and double-sided tape. I'm going to put it on this so that I know the edges will stick down. So the top edge, I'm going to leave blank. So I'm turning that to the inside of my board. I'm going to put the tape on like that and cut it with my craft knife. So I haven't got any overhang in the edge. I cut that little bit off as well. And then I'm going to do this side. So a little trick I learned when I was doing scrapbooking, if you want to overlap your strips of glue, so but you don't want to be exposing it all at once. So I've got nails now, so I can actually do this. So just peel back a little bit. This helps not only overlap your gluey bits, but it also helps you when you come to positioning it, because not all your glue is exposed, and you can peel it off afterwards once you've placed it. So you just peel back about a centimetre and fold back the backing. Then your next piece, your long edge, just let me double check. Yep, that's the bit at the bottom. Wouldn't really matter, it would look okay at the top. So we're putting that right along the bottom edge so that it overlaps, and then cut in. And then again, we just peel back a little bit of it. Right. So we can place this now without it being stuck down in all its edges. So when we turn it over, you can see the little edges. We get that into the place we want, and we stick down the exposed bits. Then you just simply pull that off from the bits you turned over and seal it. Now that's not perfect. What you could do, if you liked, you could print out a little greeting or a nice sentiment to put on there. I'll put that on upside down. And ignore that. This is our. Let me pop these on so you can see. And I was going to put the pencil in there. Where's the pencil gone? There it is. I'll put it in that way up so it doesn't draw on me. So that can go under like that. And that's our finished stationery pouch. It's lovely. Apart from the fact I have stuck the pocket on upside down on the back. Now, if I'd done it with glue, I could have peeled it off, but it doesn't really matter. We can fix that later. So let's unwrap it. Now, the first thing you'd have to take off is the clip. So let's take our pencil out, undo the clip. Unfortunately, unlike the one I did, which was narrower, because it's based on the size of this envelope, the clip will hold it closed. But this one, the clip won't. It's not big enough. So we need to take it off, and then we undo our ties. There's our first pocket, so we can put whatever in there. Safety pins, not safety pins. Why would you put safety pins in? Paper clips, maybe. Then our second pocket is the tall one, and that will fit long things in, like, I don't know, bookmarks, maybe notelet cards, small birthday cards, that kind of thing. Then this is our stamp pocket with the window envelope, and then on the other side we could put odd stamps in there. You could put books of stamps in here. This is where we've got the seal of the envelope showing. Our next envelope, again, whatever you want to put in there, you can put in there. Our final one, again, for storing whatever you want. It doesn't have to be for stationery. It could just be for mementos. Do you know? Concert tickets, plane tickets, postcards, you know, anything you want. And you can make it bigger if you can get bigger envelopes. It's just the size of the envelopes that determine the size of your folder. Tie that again in a knot. A nice bow. Just thinking whether that would be better. I think that would be better there, because it will, then you won't have to take it out. I'll show you in a minute. So if we undo our string, take our first flap, and then, yeah, that works. And then tie over the whole thing. I like that. Somebody might be getting this for Christmas or something similar. I will tidy it up. Well, I think my new tripod worked really well as well. Can you all see me? I'm just going to turn you up. This is where it might all go horribly wrong. There, you can see me now. Thank you very much for joining me on this lovely session. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've now got two nice things that I can use for my stationery. I am back in 2 weeks' time. We are upcycling again that time, but we're upcycling jigsaw pieces into various things, jewellery, gifts, all sorts of things. So if you have an old jigsaw with bits missing, get them to hand. I have to go and scrabble among my neighbours for old jigsaw pieces because I'm very good with my jigsaws. I don't lose pieces. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. The sun's come out here, so I can get in the garden this afternoon. And I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye, everybody.